Well, good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here, and of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. So let's get open for business here, and let's wake up my football gods. Wake up here, guys. That'll give you guys a better look, at least, of the set a little bit here this morning as we evolve. We constantly are trying to get better in things, and I'm using some of the new software from Amiibo cameras and things, and it allows us to kind of play around without it being the whole studio set. And happy game day, and this is our game day cup of coffee here on this week number 13 of the NFL season. This season has literally flown by, and in some regards, it's also just been kind of dragging ass. I mean, literally, we have been just dragging ass on this season, and it's just been terrible. Some news for us, Cowboy fans, of course. Zach Martin, as expected, will not be playing on Tuesday. And boy, it seems like it's been forever since we've had a game. This literally feels like a bye week. Doesn't it feel like a bye week to you guys? It has enabled us to get some extra rest and hopefully some extra practice and hopefully some better knowledge as to what should be going on the field and things. Now, it just depends on which side of the fence you're on. If you're looking at this and saying, you know what, I want to see the Cowboys tank, get those high draft picks, get that fourth place schedule, then here's what you are hoping for. What you're hoping for is you hope the Detroit Lions beat the Chicago Bears, so that way they're another step out of the way. You hope that the Houston Texans end up beating the Indianapolis Colts. You hope that the Jacksonville Jaguars end up beating Minnesota. Well, I always like Minnesota losing. I just do. I just Kirk Cousins. I'm sorry. It's one of those guilty pleasures of mine that I just like to see him suffer. But you also want to see Atlanta beat New Orleans. You want to see the Chargers over New England. You want to see Philadelphia. Oh God, beat Green Bay because, of course, right now Philadelphia is lurking. They're lurking. They're trying to creep up on us on that higher draft pick, and they're sitting at 6. And in actuality, we actually want the Eagles to win a couple of games so that way they get worse draft picks, so that way they'll be worse in the future. You want to see Denver beat Kansas City. You want to see Washington beat Pittsburgh. God, but then I'm going to have to deal with the trolls. I'm tired of these trolls. Sick and tired of them. And you want to see San Francisco over Buffalo. So all these things help to give yourself a little bit more cushion to hold on to the spot that you have and maybe even move up further. If you are looking at this and finding out that Lamar Jackson is scheduled to come off of the COVID list today and will start on Tuesday, if you look at that and say, well, they got Lamar Jackson, we've got no chance. If that is your thing and you're hoping that the Cowboys have a chance, well, we could lose this game, of course, against Baltimore, and probably all probability will, although Baltimore has a lot of people that are questionable and doubtful for this game because of the COVID list and haven't really been able to practice and prepare the way you normally would. So if you looked at this from a standpoint of saying, could there be an upset? Yeah, some of these things kind of fit into that category of being an upset. Lamar Jackson hasn't practiced. Probably will practice today and a walkthrough tomorrow, but that's it, getting ready for the Cowboys on Tuesday. And you look at this from the standpoint of knowing that the Eagles are playing against the Green Bay Packers. And do you really think that the Eagles are going to beat Green Bay? It's going to be interesting to see Carson Wentz. I think Carson Wentz is right now a snowball rolling downhill where it's just getting worse and worse and worse. And I just don't see him recovering on this for this season. There's just so much stuff that is going on. There's so much doubt. There's so many people that are after him. That are ready to trash him and everything else, that it's going to be hard to turn it around, especially with the team that has as many injuries as they do, especially problems on the offensive line. If you can't get that offensive line straight, it doesn't mean all of a sudden Carson Wentz getting better is going to help because he just won't have the time to pass. And you're talking about the guy that has the most interceptions in the NFL as well as being sacked the most. So I don't see that happening. Washington over Pittsburgh, well, this one you look at and say, well, that Washington front will always keep you in games. and gives you an opportunity. And you look at the Steelers against the Ravens, a Ravens team that was not really there. The Steelers look terrible, but I think the Steelers come out with a sense of urgency. I think they've been beaten Washington. And then you got the New York stinking Giants going against, of course, Seattle and Russell Wilson. And it seems like that defense for Seattle is beginning to come on a bit. And do you see, the Giants winning that game? Keep in mind, the Giants have the 2 wins over Washington, Philadelphia, and Cincinnati. That's it. Washington has only beaten bad teams. They beat us twice. They beat the Eagles, and they beat Cincinnati. You got the Eagles with a victory over us, a victory over the Giants, a victory over the 49ers, and a tie against Cincinnati. You're looking at a possibility that the whole NFC East is 0-4. But you look at that and say, who actually has the best chance? I'm actually going to say that I think the Cowboys actually have the best chance to get an upset. I just feel like with Baltimore having so many people that have been out, 19 guys, having just played on Wednesday on a short week, just getting Lamar Jackson back today, that if there's a chance, so you're telling me there's a chance. So you're telling me.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Yeah, so you're telling me there's a chance.
Yeah!
There's always a chance in the NFL, and there's a chance for any of these teams to be able to turn it around. But we'll have to wait and see. We will be live streaming today. Starting around 4 o'clock, we'll end up watching the Giant game as well as the Eagles game. So if you want to keep up with what's going on in the NFC East and you don't get those games and don't have direct TV, then by all means tune into our live stream so that way you can keep up, and we'll be talking and having fun here and everything else. So the Cowboys, of course, like I said, have I don't think the team has given up per se. I think the team, more than anything else, really wants to play well, and I think that they're not interested in tanking the season. So in other news here today, TMZ has seemingly evolved, and I don't know if it's because they've been forced to evolve or if they're just kind of realizing that they're getting more bees with honey than vinegar. TMZ used to be famous for always going after Zeke Elliott and always putting out the worst stories about the Dallas Cowboys and things. It's funny because Vatez Burfict, ended up getting arrested and everything else. I don't remember seeing any TMZ videos on that guy, but it's okay. If Zeke Elliott blows his nose, they used to, of course, put stuff out there, and they would shade it to make it seem worse than it is. They would end up adding everything in the world to it. But lately, TMZ, at least this year, maybe it's just the COVID thing or whatever, they seem to be posting more articles about positive things that have happened, at least with the Cowboys and things like that. In fact, they've seemed to have evolved and become a fan of Dak Prescott. So this morning I saw TMZ, and whenever you see TMZ Dallas Cowboys, you hold your breath for a second and say, oh, Lord, what do we have here now? Because usually it's not good. But they ended up bringing up this story about our quarterback, Dak Prescott. Dak, who lost his brother during the draft this past year in April. I remember like it was yesterday because I had somebody who let me know that the situation happened during the draft. I mean, we were live streaming the draft itself, and I get this message and a call and finding this out. Having lost my brother just a couple of weeks ago, I understand the feeling of emptiness inside of losing a family member. Dak had also talked over the off season about how he gets depressed, and things, missing, his mother and his brother and things like that, and shared that. Of course, Skip Bayless, the trash that he is, took that and tried to make it something terrible, when in retrospect, ended up helping a lot of other people because they could look and say, well, if Dak Prescott, who, the quarterback of the Cowboys, who's got everything to be happy about, can feel depression, then I shouldn't feel bad about it myself. And I can understand that feeling right now of loss. So for his brother, he ended up getting this pendant that you see right here, made up in memory of his brother Jace, was known as Moose. It's diamond encrusted. It's it's the enamel, the jewelry enamel, and everything else, and got it done for Jace's birthday. Excuse me, not Jace's brother. His brother's birthday on the 25th of March, and that is an incredible piece right there. That Moose, and yeah, that's a great thing to do to try and help deal with the situation. And I don't quite have that kind of money to be able to get something like that made, but it makes me think and realize too, because it's not about just the ones that left. It's also realizing that you need to look out for the ones that are left, because they're, as much as you miss your brother that's gone, you got to realize that you don't have time to waste with the ones that are still here, and you need to look out for each other and so forth. So that I am just like, just literally hits home for me and makes me realize that my sister and my other two brothers, as well as my parents, that I've got to make sure that I spend more time with them and realize that there's only a finite amount of time to spend with them. So that's where we are today. We'll see what happens this afternoon. I hope you enjoy your game day. Understand, as bad as this season has been, this season we know stinks. It stinks. But it's better to have a season that stinks than not having had one at all. And that's where we are. So as always, friends, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. I'll see you soon.